let's go back to this a question that you and we are faced with. Even if I put out this video, right, that we will be faced with, which someone on the internet actually replied. Why are you so focused on the US politics? Wo country la irukra politics ஏ உனக்கு தெரியல, நீ யூஎஸ்ல இருக்கிற பாலிடிக்ஸ் பத்தி வாய்க்கிலேயே பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்க. ஓகே, ஆன்சர்.
தெரியலையா இல்ல ஒன்னும் பண்ண முடியலையா? I think that is the main point. It's not that we don't know what's going on, it's just we are helpless. We can't do anything as much as what can be achieved over there. So it's like for example, like in Malaysia, I can never be ever like a prime minister or like a as a prime minister or deputy prime minister ever, right? Because it's already written in the constitution and the rules and whatnot. So when you see something like this happen, where a female who's not white, because the country it's a white country, right? So it's not white, and she's a female, and she is a mix of like, and her parents were like immigrants, and with this kind of qualification, she could still become a vice president. So that is something that is really inspiring for all the girls around the world. Like, I can do something too. Okay, maybe it's not something, okay, maybe I don't want to be a prime minister of my country or go into politics, but I can push myself to achieve something greater. So that did bring a message that anyone can be anything if you want to, in a way. And a lot of people who are counting on their American dream, they kind of have hope now, because like Trump was like, okay, immigrations are going to be cut, and like one of their important visas were going to be like restricted. So there was a lot of people who were hopeful to migrate, or hopeful to like at least even go visit, have like some sort of, it was like a setback for them, because a lot of especially for like people from India, because they want to like study IT and go abroad and those kind of stuff, they were kind of limited as well, because a lot of America's technical workers, like doctors, and a lot of, except for like business related, like a lot of technical jobs are coming from Asia, and they are outsourcing their jobs to Asia, right? So it is good that you have, and stock market depends on the US government to some extent, like US politics, election, what's happening in that country. Stock market does depend on that. So it is, I would say it is foolish to think that it has nothing to do with us. It does in so many matters. And for example, a lot of Black Lives Matter activists and supporters voted for Biden because Trump just turned a blind eye to the whole situation and whatnot, right? And even for that, I got a lot of questions from my friends and families, like, why do you care? Like, why does that matter to you? It's not happening here.
Why? What did you do? Did you like post something on it? What did you do?
I always post, and I always, even at home, I talk about it because I feel like it should be addressed. And it's not like something that, it's not something that's happening in a distant land, that it does not affect us in any way. But the whole thing about Black Lives Matter is about police brutality in racism, right? Like how police are brutal to specific race and specific not. It's happening around the world, not just in America. It's happening everywhere, right? So the fact that if something happens in one place and it doesn't bother us, that doesn't make sense. You have climate change, and you can't be like, oh, the iceberg in the North Pole is melting, I got nothing to do with it. No, it doesn't work that way, because everything is connected in some way or another.
Yeah. They will only be concerned if it happens in the big boss house.
Yes. Then everyone will be like, oh, he said that, oh, she said that, how is he supposed to do this, and etc.
But they don't understand how US elections can affect us. That's how ignorant people are.
Yeah, like I think now Joe Biden has already agreed that on his first day of office, he's gonna go back into the Paris Agreement, which is like a really good sign. Because them being, I think, one of the top 3 carbon footprint, one of the top 3 countries that release the most gases, the most makes the most contribution to climate change, they stepped back under Donald Trump, and that was a huge setback for everyone, because everyone is in this, and even small countries have pledged to somewhat try to help them and to help the earth overall. And then you have a big country to say no, and it makes it seem like whatever small countries are doing is insignificant. Because we are doing small baby good steps, positive steps, and then they're taking huge leap back, and that just makes our effort insignificant. So it does matter. It does matter in so many ways, not just climate change, in the society, how we see things. And I remember speaking to my sister the other day about Black Lives Matter. There was this case in Tamil Nadu about if I'm not mistaken, it was father and son, Jayaraj, where he was killed in police custody and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's connected to Black Lives Matter, police brutality.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? Before this, nobody stood up for that. Everyone, it wasn't even a problem. Like Tamil movies had police brutality that was like a part of a comedy, and everyone would just laugh it off. Or it was like, and there were some movies where the police was a good cop. It might seem okay for the people who's watching it in a way that, oh, he's a good cop, what he does is good. But to give the power to a police to decide what he wants to do, to decide the justice, is wrong, even if he's doing it right. You never know what his decision will be. What if it was a bad cop and he'll take a bad decision? That's going to be bad. So police brutality has been kind of like ignored for a long time among the Asian, especially like in India and whatnot. So it was a good thing that now, since BLM started coming out, just like the Me Too movement, right? Somebody brought it up and everyone started opening their mouth. Yes, I've been through too. I've had this too. I've had this similar experience. And that's when they started bringing up, because all this while it's been inside, they don't know how to say it out. They didn't know if the society is going to accept it and stuff like that. So it was like for example, you said how a lot of people had like racism in them, but then it was just waiting for Donald Trump to come for them to like open it up. Similarly, there were so many issues that people just didn't want to say it out with the fear of not being accepted. And the problem would only be so big and so problematic for those who are experiencing it, and nothing for anyone else. So these kind of big movements, because America is big and they do bring in like big movements, and they have big media that is like broadcasters around the world. So whatever happens there, it does affect how people think here. It does affect how we look at the society, how we change, and how we notice, oh, something bad is happening there and people are making noise. And then we reflect on what's happening in our daily lives, and then we realize, then this is wrong too.
Yeah.
Right? So that is, yeah, so it is important.
Yeah. I was talking to this person from a bank, and like he was like one of the directors over there, and I was like, hey, are you like watching the election, are you following up on it? And he's like, yeah, all of us are plastered to the news. We are. He said, because whatever decision has been made is going to impact all of us, because he's talking in terms of money, currency, right? Because it's a bank. So Donald Trump, the impact of one of his tweet can make a company go bankrupt. And the level the power of the presidency is. This whole election process right now, it's not easy for US. I think the pandemic was, so many people's life has been lost. Just imagine if Donald Trump was not in power, it was Barack Obama who was in power. So many people who would not have lost their life, because they already had a plan in place, which was totally like, I lost the book. That's what Donald Trump pretty much said. அந்த புக்கை எங்க வச்சேன், அங்க காண போச்சு, இவன் காண போச்சுப்பா. And then they came out and said, no, that book didn't even exist, something like that. So, but Barack Obama, while he was campaigning, he said that we gave them step by step what to do, but they didn't even follow it. So if it was in someone else's hands, so many people would not have lost their lives. And, and it just like, the way Singapore handled COVID-19 was, I know we are really, really strict, but the way they handled it was so impressive. I know a lot of Singaporeans are complaining about it, but I actually was talking to a friend of mine, and the person was saying that Singapore actually are handling it pretty, pretty well. The way that they're doing everything. Right now, I don't know if they're doing really well, because I haven't been focusing on the news so much, because the cases have gone down.
Yeah,
but
it's reduced.
but when it was like really like lockdown kind of situation, I was following them, and they were doing a really, really good job to reduce it. But the fact that I'm not paying attention is the good thing, is because it's like no longer on our minds. Like I said, when it's not a problem, you don't pay attention to it. So if a small country like Singapore like know what to do, and totally like went in and zero in, I don't know about Malaysia, how you guys do it over there, but in Singapore, if you have to go to a shopping center or go anywhere, you have to sign in, and then only you can go in. So, and then you have to sign out when you're check out when you're coming out of the place. So even there, the debate, when they started having debates whether they should wear a mask, you have a debate like that in Singapore, you will be in jail. So it's like, remember, I'm sorry, I thought for a second I was like, oh, we are Singaporeans. No, no, no. In Singapore, there was a couple of cases where people are like, no, I will not wear a mask. Immediately, police came, take, caught, that's it. Because it's like, you don't wear, by not wearing a mask, you are okay, it's in your legal right or whatever thing, right? But you have just jeopardized all the people around you.
True.
And their families, right? So for example, it's like, if my brother goes to work and he comes home and someone around him was not wearing a mask, and my brother got infected, right? He comes home, he pass it to all of us. Now for me, நான் வெட்டிய வெயில உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கேன். So அது வேற பிரச்சனை. அது ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. But my sister works with, is a childcare center principal. So she works with babies, கை குழந்தைங்க. So she could have the potential to go and infect all the babies. So that is how dangerous it is when you're not wearing a mask. And the fact that in the US, there's this debate on whether you can wear a mask is a choice. It is, for a person who's sitting here, it's like when we are told that if you're not wearing a mask, you'll be fined $300. That is a complete joke. When people are telling us to do this, we understand it. And the reason why a lot of people in US feel so privileged enough to say that I'm not going to wear it is because
I'm told what to do.
Yes, they have never been told what to do. So now the audacity of that person to come and tell me to wear a mask, how dare you? So so that's how privileged those people are. And which also shows in this election, 70 million people voted for Donald Trump. It's last time, when a lot of people voted for Donald Trump instead of Hillary Clinton, their excuse was, I don't like Donald Trump. At the same time, Hillary Clinton is also not good. But Hillary Clinton and that emails, cannot trust her. That's why I voted for, because Donald Trump didn't have these kind of scandals. So he was the lesser of the evil. And that's why they voted for him.
True.
So, but now we have seen there's no more excuse already. These 70 million people, they have no more excuses. He has more scandals than Hillary Clinton has ever had in a lifetime. So everything that comes out of his mouth is a scandal. So it is like, and if you still vote for him, I have nothing to say about you already. Like, a lot of people say politics can, you and I can disagree on politics, but that should, but we can still be friends. I'm like, I don't know how that works. I honestly don't know how would that work when I know that you like Donald Trump. I don't know how that would work in our relationship. And that's why I feel like dating apps should have that option. Politics is such a big part of who you are and what you identify yourself with. What about you? Do you think that you can actually be friends with someone with a Donald Trump supporter?
I guess it depends on how obsessed are they with him. Because when I spoke to a lot of people who actually support Donald Trump, I do like, I try to hear without having a biased opinion on it. I do hear some good stuff about how other presidents have been very diplomatic to a level that they can't hold China accountable to all the bad things that are going. So they're always talking about he's the only one who can stand up against China and what he's doing to like Hong Kong and how it's trying to like I'd say bully all the countries in the Southeast Asia for the South China Sea and like for lands and whatnot. So those are the kind of arguments that they bring in. That might be like the only one point that I might agree with them, because sometimes being diplomatic, because we feel like everyone is like, we want to be nice to everyone, but you don't know what kind of agenda that they are brewing behind and whatnot, right? So that is like the main point that they're bringing and nothing else. And that's when I realized that if these people who support him so much are just as racist as him, then there's no way we can be friends. But if they support him for the policy and not because of like the way he speaks or how he's like saying like really mean things about others and whatnot, then I think there might be some room that we can be friends with them. So it depends on like how obsessed are they about him. I remember I did an exchange program last year when I went to the US. So I remember meeting a bus driver who happened to be a Trump supporter, and he was not mean or anything. And I was this student from Malaysia. I did not look like them or anyway. And so when I got in the bus, I see him like every other day because he drives the same bus that I used to take every day. And he would talk to me like, he knowing me that I'm a foreign student working in their country, he was just like very nice to me, and I didn't see any sorts of racism in him. But there was this one day, suddenly he started talking about how his president has done so much. And I'm not sure if you're aware of AOC.
Yeah, of
Alexandria
course.
Ocasio-Cortez and the whole gang of like Ilhan Omar and those kind of the whole Democratic representatives. So he was telling me how, oh, my president said, gave such a good reply to them. He said like this, he said like that, and those were like mean things about them and whatnot. But he did not in any way, because you know how Trump is against immigrants or foreign people in his country and whatnot. He did not in any way speak to me like he didn't want me there. Like he didn't speak to me like, oh, why is she here? Why is she taking our jobs? No, he didn't do that. So there are a lot of Republicans who are really, really nice and really, really good. It's just that I feel like they might have been taken advantage by Trump. Trump is taking advantage of their naiveness of like, by saying things, by making them believe that he is best. Because it's not just, are they not seeing his bad side, they are glorifying him because they feel like what he's saying is right. They are fooled by him. So those kind of people, I feel are fine.
I feel
you can still be friends with them.
someone said this. I'm not sure who said this, but I'm not sure if I'm getting the quote right, but it should be along this line. The quote was basically, not everyone who voted for Donald Trump is like a racist, homophobic kind of a person who's against immigrants and everything. But everyone who's a Donald Trump supporter are aligned with him. Okay, which means that everybody who's voted for him, I will not say that because like I said, a lot of people are voting for him, sometimes not because they want to vote for him, because he's the lesser of evil. So they are not totally like 100% with his thoughts and what he believes in, but they just feel like he is so much better and dealing, like what do you say, like standing up to other countries and everything. But of course, anyone who runs a country, I was just watching Madam Secretary for the past 1 week, and it was, and she's the Secretary of State. So her job is literally to make peace with every country, even if they are going war. Like, how do you deal with it, right? So you don't have allies by like being stubborn. And remember that famous picture, all the UN leaders in the summit, and Donald Trump sitting like that while all the UN leaders were looking at him. So the one thing that Joe Biden said that he will do immediately he becomes president is he'll call up all our world leaders and say that we are back. US is back.
I said that.
I'm really excited for US, because of these 4 years. Anytime someone said that, what do you think about going to the US and living? I'm like, once you look at whatever is happening in other countries, right, sometimes you feel like I'm actually really, really happy to be in my own country. Like democracy is something that, what Kamala Harris said, I don't remember word for word what she said, but basically it's something that we need to fight for. It's not a right, it's not something that is a given fact. It's something that you have to fight for all the time, everywhere you go.
Thank you for calling me. It just felt like because we're like in lockdown and whatnot, and I don't really had like a lot of people to talk about this, and it's usually like via text and like I'm like watching video by myself. So I kind of felt good to like talk to someone about something that both of us share. So it felt really good about like contrasting this and that, and like really analyzing about like why it matters to us and whatnot. So thank you for this opportunity.